Ladies and gentlemen, this is Toby Eunice of A Gypsy's Kiss. Stick with us for a couple of seconds and we will introduce you to YouTuber and Fenn treasure hunter, Ramblin' Pam. Great. So I can see that Joel Lewicki is in our chat room, and Eric Schmidt. Hi, guys. We're going to give everybody a chance to get into the chat room because I know the invitations to join us have just come out. It takes everybody a little while to get in. But while we're doing that, I'd like to give everyone an opportunity to meet our panelists tonight. So I'm going to start right at my upper left-hand corner with Cynthia Meacham. Cynthia, could you introduce yourself and let the panel or let the audience know who you are?
My name is Cynthia Meacham. I live in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, just south of Santa Fe. I've been a Fennaholic for 5 years, and this will be my 6th search season, boots on the ground.
Thank you, Fennaholic. I like that. Toby Renee, introduce yourself, would you please?
Hi, everyone. I am Toby Renee Eunice, the youngest daughter of Toby Michael Eunice. And pleasure to be here tonight.
And you're going to be responsible for what tonight?
Answering all of, or helping field all of those questions.
Well, I was going to say, answering all the questions. We'd like that very much.
I won't be answering any.
And Shelley Carney?
Hello, I'm Shelley Carney with the Gypsy's Kiss, and I also have my own YouTube channel, thesofterside.me, and I will post that right now. And I have a new video coming out tomorrow, so be sure to visit and subscribe.
And before I go on to our guest, Cynthia, could you remind everybody where your new blog is at?
Yes, the website, it's www.chasingfennstreasure.com, all one word, no apostrophe, and yep, that's how you log in.
Great. And how soon are you going to be doing a YouTube channel?
When I find the treasure chest, I will steal it, and I will certainly send it to Toby right away.
That's great. All right, so we have our guest tonight is Pam Schoppman. She has a YouTube channel called Ramblin' Pam. And before I ask her to introduce herself, I'm going to play a little clip that I pulled from one of her recent videos. And I think to me, it is the epitome of her style. It's a very calm, relaxed, and intimate style. And I really enjoy watching her videos. Just it's a short clip. So let's just watch that. Then we'll come back and talk to her.
Something to think about and keep in mind, if you haven't actually been out there searching, things look a lot different when you're out there in person than they do on a map. So it's just a good thing to keep in mind. And Forrest had said that people are thinking about the warm waters clue too hard. I still think where warm waters halt means something like Hot Springs or Boiling River by Gardner, Montana was interesting to me. I've also explored the idea of warm waters and heavy loads in water high being in reference to water tanks used to refill the steam engines. I recently had a suggestion to look at the ghost town of Aldrich. I'm thinking while we're there in the area, we might expand our search from Gardner to Aldrich. It's only about 9 miles down the road, and it looks like an interesting place to explore, so I'll have to give you an update on that when we go there. Thanks so much for all your comments and suggestions, and if you're interested in getting notified when I post new videos, hit the bell down below. And I thank you all for watching.
That's a great little clip. It's the one from one of your recent videos where you talked about the differences between being boots on the ground and looking at a map of the same location. So let's talk to Pam, give her a chance to introduce herself. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll give some of the other panelists the opportunity to ask you some questions. Just give us some background information.
Okay, I'm probably one of the newer treasure searchers here. I've been searching for it for probably about a year now. We started out in Santa Fe, New Mexico last year and kind of got bit by the bug from there. But I have my YouTube channel, Ramblin Pam, and I put my thoughts and ask questions of other people out there to see what they think. And I'm interested to hear what other people think also.
You said we. Who are you talking about?
Oh, my husband. Mm-hmm. My husband and I. We together we go out searching for the treasure.
And how did you become interested in the hunt for Forrest Fenn's treasure?
My husband had read the poem and then shared it with me, and then from there, like I said, we went to New Mexico last summer, and that was more of a scouting expedition then, and so we didn't get real serious until we started going up to Montana, Wyoming, and searching around up there. Mm-hmm. But it's like I had said in the video, it's a lot different when you get out there than it is on the map.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a bunch of people in the room right now welcoming you in, some of whom have said they've seen some of your videos and have liked them, but a lot of them are just greeting you and welcoming you into our little YouTube event here tonight. So let me give some of the other panelists the opportunity to ask their questions. Shelley, we want to start with you.
Okay. So Pam, how much time do you spend traveling and searching for Fenn's treasure?
Okay, so traveling, we aren't traveling as much right now. We will start again. Our first trip is in June, and then from there we'll probably be busy throughout the summer. But searching, I spend every single day on the computer looking at maps and reading blogs and doing my videos.
So it sounds like it keeps you very, very busy. Even
it does.
And where are you at a state in life that you can afford to invest that kind of time in it?
I'm retired.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
And what did you do before you were retired?
I was a police dispatcher.
Oh, nice. And in the city of Buena Vista, or in the area, or?
No, in LA.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. The big city, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Cynthia, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. So, Pam, I watched your video that was published October 6th of 2017, so the fall of last year. And right. You talked about going to Bear Trap Canyon.
Yes.
You were in Montana, and you came in, I think, from the west into the eastern part of Montana. And you talked about, I think you were along the Madison, around Ennis, and then you went, I believe, towards Hebgen Lake and maybe into Montana or into the Yellowstone and Gardner. So my question to you, you had so many good solves, I thought, for the poem on that trip that you willingly shared with the people in your video. Will you go back to any of those trails? Because I think there's one that you talked about that you guys ran out of time.
Yes, I will go back to, we will go back to Bear Trap Canyon and try and hike the rest of that. We also, that was along, that's along the Madison River. So we'd like to try and get onto the other side of the Madison River from where we were and see, search along the shore or around there. Gardner was really interesting, but it got too late by the time that we actually got to where we wanted to go. It got too late, and then we ran out of time there. So those are a couple of places that definitely go back and search around there.
So I don't remember exactly, but I was under the impression that you do a lot of RVing. Is that
Yes.
Is that correct? Tell us about that.
Yeah. We have we started out in a travel trailer, and now we have a Class A. So we did not take that up to Yellowstone last year, though. We drove the truck up there, and it was a lot quicker to drive the truck than to drive the Class A up there.
The Class A. A lot less expensive, I'll bet.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me, before we go on, let me say hi to a couple of folks in the room. So our moderators, Joel Lewicki and Jimmy Fast, are already in the room. I see a lot of our friends in there. Laurie James, hi. Ryan Lowe, Chris Johnson, Sledneck, Andrew West, Fossilman123, Dave Erickson, Jason Dead. So some of these are some new names, so we're glad to have you new visitors in. BJ Chambly's in, Mike M. We've seen you before. Chris Thor. Chris runs the Hint of Riches Forum, the THOR Forum, the Hint of Riches. So welcome, Chris. We're glad to see you here. Craig Carter is here. Let's see, Ryan Lowe, Mary Green. Virgil Kane is my name is in. Julie Smith, who's always in our chats. David Dow, Bill Cross. Hey, Bill, how are you doing? Nice to see you in. Let's see, am I missing anybody? Did I say Eric? Eric Schmidt? I think I did. DeCall Thomas is in. Jeremy Milstead, Rick McDonald. Hey, Coach. Coach is in. So we've got a lot of our friends in tonight. So it's really good to have you all here. We're glad that you could join us. We love doing these particular types of shows so that we can introduce you to different searchers, and in this case, not only a searcher, but a YouTuber. And we're trying to highlight our friends on YouTube to help build that part of the community. Toby Renee, you've got a question?
I do. I have a couple. One from Mary Green, and this is actually for Pam. Can an 80-year-old make the bear trap hike?
I think as far as where I went, yes, because it's a pretty level ground. It's not that hard. It's a trail, an actual marked trail. So I think so, yes. As
a retiree, how do you feel about some of, how difficult some of the areas that you go into, and how do you evaluate whether to actually pursue a solution into these areas?
Well, some of them, I think I would go as far as like, let me see, Cabin Creek. We didn't go too far into that, the Cabin Creek area. Some of the trail seemed a little bit iffy on there, but I would think that climbing too much in that might be a little bit outside of a 79 or 80-year-old man. But, I have to take that into consideration, too, when we go out and search where Forrest Fenn might have gone.
How many times have you been boots on the ground? How many different recons have you been on?
Probably, well, we were in Yellowstone for almost 2 weeks. And then we were also in New Mexico for almost 2 weeks. So 2 times, 2 weeks, boots on the ground.
And I know you went into Montana, but you said you didn't have time to search for it. How many of the 4 treasure states have you visited for the purposes of boots on the ground?
All 4.
Oh, have you?
Yep, but they weren't all. I think that Montana maybe is where we searched more in Montana. When we were in New Mexico, we went up into a little bit into Colorado, a little bit, and not really very far into Colorado, though, and not really far into Wyoming. But I think probably the most would be Montana.
So let me ask you a question. I just ask everybody, what state do you think the treasure is in?
Right now, I like Montana, but I'm thinking New Mexico, maybe somewhere around there. I'm just, there's different things. I'm a little bit conflicted on that, but I really did like Montana a lot.
I think we all go through that. Cynthia, did you have another question?
I was going to ask Pam whether or not you think that the poem can be solved without anything other than TTOTC and maps, but using no scrapbooks, or are you one of the people that do believe that Forrest gives a lot of hints in the scrapbooks and therefore you use a lot of the scrapbooks?
I have not used the scrapbooks. I have only used the 2 books that Forrest Fenn wrote, the Thrill of the Chase and the Too Far to Walk. And then a lot of maps, a lot of blogs, and I ask the questions on my videos too, and then I get some answers on there. So I think that for me, I haven't used the scrapbooks at all.
How you mentioned that you get answers on your videos. How do you go about getting your commenters to contribute their ideas to what you're doing?
People are very nice, you know, on there. You know, they come back with comments, and some people have their own ideas. And I think just everybody getting together and throwing their ideas in together, you know, maybe somebody will get something from that, you know. And then I also learn a lot when I watch like your videos and that too. Same thing.
We have fun making those videos. Toby, Renee, do you have a new question for us?
I do. This one kind of goes to the group. Paul Wood asked, when you find the treasure, would you give Forrest back what he asked for in it?
Cynthia, you want to answer that?
Yes, I will answer, and no, I will not give it back. I'm serious. I keep everything in there. Fenn's grandchildren do not need that bracelet. They have oodles of other stuff. I'll tell you what I will do. I will use that bracelet to barter for a Leon Gaspard painting on Fenn's wall.
Oh,
Nice. That's a good one. Pam, what are you going to do if you find it? What are you going to do with that bracelet?
Contact Fenn, probably give it back.
And Shelley?
well, as we've discussed, we want to auction off the treasure intact. I think that him asking for that bracelet in 2013 was the first time he asked for it. And he had he really, really wanted it back and it had been important to him, he wouldn't have put it in the treasure, or he would have at least said in the book, I'd like it back. It was sort of an afterthought. So I don't take it as something that is, you know, and he always has said, I'm not going to tell the finder of the treasure what to do. That's up to them. So
that's true. I don't think we heard the whole bracelet story until Moby Dickens in November of 2013. And I think it came up as an issue because at some point between the time that he published the book and Moby Dickens, he realized that there was a chance that the finder of the treasure might not let him know that they found the treasure. There was no way that he had planned that this would happen. And I think the bracelet was a motivational tool to get him to do that. So interesting. I'm with you. I think it should remain intact. And it's not like anybody needs and as Cynthia said, it's not like anybody needs the bracelet back. Shelley, did you have another question for Pam?
I do, for Pam. So Pam, what was it that, and I've looked at your videos, they're very nicely put together, well edited. What was it that made you decide that you wanted to do a YouTube vlog?
You know, I started out before we went to Montana, and I just put some videos together and put it out there. And it was just something that seemed fun. And then after we got back and I did the Forrest Fenn video, and then after that, it's kind of like it took off on its own as far as people like the Forrest Fenn videos, and I like doing them, so it worked.
I wanted to say, just a minute, let me make sure. So Pam, Ben Parisi says he's going to be in Montana in June and he hopes to see you there. So, Toby, Renee, you got a question for us?
Yes. John asked, how many have had boots on the ground in Tom Minor Basin?
Did he direct that to anyone in particular?
He didn't.
Okay. Cynthia, have you been in Tom Minor Basin?
No, I have not.
Does anybody know where Tom Minor Basin is? I don't know where it is. No. All right. So who is that asked that question?
John Rabinet.
John Rabinet.
Mm-hmm.
So John, you're going to have to tell us where we are because and that might be directed at the room. So
I have another one,
okay.
but people had a couple of thoughts on the bracelet before we going back a little bit.
Yeah.
Edward Owen thinks the bracelet was to affirm that someone found the treasure, so that's why he wants it back.
Yeah.
And Fenn actually said he would buy the bracelet back.
No, I'm with Cynthia.
And then Chris Thor asked Pam, have you settled on one solve or general location at this point?
No. I'm still up in the air on a couple of different areas. So.
All right. So I hadn't done this with any of the other treasure hunters that we've, any of our other guests, but I wanted to do it with you because I think you can answer this, okay? So we're going to play a little word game, and I'm going to give you a word or a phrase that comes directly from the poem, and I want you to answer in just one word, okay? First word that comes to your mind. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
From one word, not a phrase, just the first word that comes to your mind. Where warm waters halt.
Ooh, Montana.
Home of Brown.
Colorado.
No place for the meek.
Montana.
So you're just going to go big with big states, huh? All right, two more. Waters high.
Yellowstone.
And the blaze.
West Yellowstone.
That's nice. Shelley, did you have another question for Pam?
I do have one more. Pam, have you learned anything surprising related to the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt during your recent travels?
What comes to my mind right now is what I had mentioned in one of my videos, and that is how beautiful, I mean, everything when we were in Montana, it was just so beautiful. And then same thing with New Mexico and Colorado, just how beautiful and how big everything is.
That's very nice. Toby Renee, another question for us?
Yes. Rick McDonald asks Pam, what is your thoughts on looking quickly down?
I think that would be not necessarily like right down at the ground below your feet, but maybe if you were maybe at the edge of something and look down, maybe you could see something from there.
And another question on, I guess, another part would be, what do you think the blaze is? And this one specifically for you too, from Crow Dudley.
The blaze, I think Shelley mentioned this in the last video, that it's geological. Something that you can't, that wouldn't change over time, that would pretty much stay the same year after year.
So Steve is, I'm going to answer this one because it's directed at me, Toby Renee. Steve is asking, Gypsy's Kiss, what do you think the blaze is? We tend to agree on something with geologic permanence and relatively visible from a distance. Now, the more and more I think about the distance, if we kind of talk about the presentation that we did yesterday, where the distance between clue 3 and clue 9 is 200 feet. It doesn't have to be visible from that far. We just think it's geologic in the sense that it has to have some kind of permanence so that it's there when you find it. Although, to be honest with you, the blaze that Cal Lazarus came up with last week, where it might be a bronze that Fenn had cast and embedded in one of the rocks nearby, I thought was a really brilliant, out-of-the-box kind of thinking. So, Cynthia, another question for Pam?
Yeah, Pam. So do you think that you have to solve the poem in order to actually find the chest? And along those lines, does that mean that, I mean, basically Fenn has said that the first clue is begin at where warm waters halt, right? So how do you find the right warm waters? Do you think it's actually in the poem, and that's the part that no one has gotten yet, and that's what we have to find the right warm waters?
So you're asking, do I think that you solve the poem and that's how you find the treasure? I do. I do think so. Finding the right warm waters, I've struggled with. I think it's something like the the warm waters, like say like Yellowstone, they have so many different boiling springs. They have all the geothermal area up there, but there's so many different places. So that's one of the things I haven't really figured out yet exactly where the right warm waters is. I'm still looking.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
So, Pam, earlier in the year, back in January, I forgot, Jenny Kyle asked a series of questions for us to respond to. And in his responses, one of the things that he said, I believe that it was in Jenny Kyle's Q&A, was that he had a gut feeling that the treasure was going to be found this summer. When you heard that, what were your thoughts and what were your feelings?
Well, it was exciting to me to hear him say that. I've heard other people say that he was just trying to generate interest and, get people excited
little
about
bit of marketing.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe he does know something, maybe he's got information like where people have been close to it. I don't know. I know he said that people have been within 200 feet and within 500 feet, but maybe he has more people that have told him that they're closer to the treasure now. I don't know. I just thought it was exciting.
Well, it was an interesting thing for him to say, and I know sometimes when you look at what he's doing, the impression is that it's marketing somehow. But he said it with, when he wrote it, it was just an interesting place to say it. And he's never, to me, given any indication that he believed anything like that it was even possible that the treasure was going to be discovered. Why this summer versus all the summers that preceded it, unless there's some indication from one of the searchers. So I'm trying to tag one of the searches that they were close to something and had let him know that in an email. So, but he's not responding to emails right now. So is there... do me a favor, and everybody just keep quiet for a second, because I'm trying to figure out where that buzzing noise is coming from. It's like an air conditioner. Somebody's air conditioner on. Somebody's fan. No. All right, everybody put your hand over your microphone. Just cover your... Okay, Cynthia, take yours off. Okay, Pam, take yours off. Shelley, take yours off. Oh, you're mute. Shelley, unmute yourself. I don't know. Well, whatever it was, it went away. So maybe it's me for all I know. Okay, Toby Renee, there it is again, huh? Just give me a second. Let me see if I can figure out where this is coming from. Hold on. Actually, while I'm doing this, trying to figure this out, Toby Renee, why don't you ask some questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions for Pam. Alan Kay and both Alan Kay and Chris Thor are asking Pam if you've had any direct correspondence with Fenn, and if you have, has he responded back to you?
Yes. I emailed him last year after we got back from our Montana trip, and I did my first video. It was just an email, and I told him thank you, that it was a great adventure. We had a good time. I don't remember exactly what I said, but he did respond back, and just like a couple of words, nice or something, and put F on the bottom. That's it. But I was excited to even get that. That was pretty cool.
Go ahead, Toby. Keep on with the list of questions that you have.
Okay. Tom Gregory is asking all of the panel, we know the first clue. Would each of you state the last clue? Also, what do these two have in common?
Let's start with you, Cynthia. What's your interpretation of the last clue? And I don't know how to ask the question, what do they have in common, but take a shot at it.
I think the last clue is Geez, you just put me on the spot.
Uh-oh.
But Terry Scant with Marvel Gaze. Yeah, and that's followed by Just Take the Chest and Go in Peace, right? So for me, I think Terry Scant, Marvel Gaze is the last clue.
Okay. Pam, what do you think is the last clue?
Maybe The Blaze, if you've been wise and found the blaze.
Look quickly down your quest to cease.
Yes.
All right. Shelley?
I agree that it's the blaze. Look quickly down. Then your quest to cease. Cease is the end.
Right.
Begin is the begin, and cease is the end.
Yeah. Begin at where warm waters halt, and look quickly down your quest to cease. And I think that's the relationship, as the gentleman asked. That's the relationship between the two: the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. And it makes sense because I think I can easily identify 9 clues in between begin at where warm waters halt and look quickly down your quest to cease. So, Pam, what are your plans for the upcoming season?
Starting out in June to July, somewhere around New Mexico, maybe up into Colorado, and then after that, travel up towards Montana again and search around up there. So
And
that's it.
when is your season? We've had a relatively mild winter down here in New Mexico. When are you planning on starting your season?
For me,
Yeah,
for searching in June.
in June. So
Yeah,
you'll stay there
because-
in Buena Vista until then.
Buena Park, yeah.
I'm sorry, Buena Park.
Well, we're actually traveling to Utah in the month of April, so we have that trip planned already, but that has nothing to do with Forrest Fenn. We'll be working on Forrest Fenn, but not actually boots on the ground.
Oh, okay. So now I have this this window. Let me get rid of this window here. There we go. Right in there. Cynthia, did you have any more questions for Pam?
Yes, Pam. I was wondering if you would tell me the areas of New Mexico that you're interested in searching, but you don't have to get so specific where it's going to give anything away. But because I've searched so much of New Mexico, I was sort of interested in knowing what you're thinking and where you want to go.
Upcoming, we'd like to go. We have not been to Taos yet. We haven't been to Angel Fire yet. Those are a couple of places that we'd like to go.
Pretty areas. It's right around the areas that we do a lot of searching in. Toby Renee, you got some questions for us?
Yes, I do. Mike M. said that you guys are convinced warm water halt relates to special trout waters, but that doesn't stand the test of time. Do you have any other warm water halt theories that can stand the test of time?
Okay, well, let's give the panelists each a chance to answer that. So, Cynthia, your warm waters halt that will tolerate the test of time.
Absolutely. It's a hot or warm water spring. And there's, what, 1 million of them in the Rocky Mountains?
That's what Fenn has said. I don't know if his numbers are right, but he did.
There's a lot.
There's a whole bunch of them. That's right. Yeah. Pam, what's the warm waters halt that will stand the test of time?
That's what I would think too, that it would be, could be something like what's up in Yellowstone area.
Shelley Carney?
Well, we did a video on this just recently, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So what did you tell them?
All right. So we believe that because it's a starting point, it doesn't have the same responsibility for longevity that, say, the Blaze does. And we believe that if you're using the New Mexico Game and Fish regulations, although they will change as early as, the next 3 to 5 years, the expectation is that you're going to do your research in the context of the time period in which Fenn hid the treasure. So while the New Mexico fishing regulations are going to be significantly different in 50 years, the New Mexico fishing regulations in 2009 and 2010 will never change. And so the expectation is you're going to go back and do your research in the context of the time period in which Fenn placed the treasure, which is what most treasure hunters do anyway. They don't count on the longevity of anything other than the treasure itself when they do their research. And a good example are the researchers. There was one on National Geographic here recently where all their research was done based upon a map that was drawn in space by one of the American astronauts that was made back in the 1970s. So they went back to that period of time to continue their research based on this map, and that's kind of our perception of why it'll have longevity. It's already done. It's already in place, and it will be the exact same 2009 fishing regulations in 100 years or 1,000 years. So. Toby, Renee, I'm going to count on you to keep us going on these questions so we make sure we get them.
I have a lot of them, so I can keep going. Edward Owen is asking, A Gypsy's Kiss, the poem is challenging enough, but why do you think it took 15 years to develop the poem?
Because Cynthia, why do you think it took 15 years to write that poem?
I don't think it actually took every day for 15 consecutive days or over 15 years. I think Fenn probably worked on it maybe for 15 years whenever he had the time to do it. And that 15 years, I have heard him actually say I can't remember now, I can't quote the source, but he actually early on was in an interview, and he actually referred to it as being 12 years, that it took him 12 years to work on or to write the poem. So I know a lot of people, they really want to take, when he got cancer and then add the 15 years, and then that falls short of when he actually hid the chest in 2009, 2010. But I just don't think that number, the 15 years, and like I said, I know I've heard him say 12 years before. I don't see that there's any significance to that. Mm-hmm. I think he just meant there was a lot of time from when he had the gallery, was selling the gallery, right, had his San Lazaro Pueblo, and was excavating it. So I just think he's taken a chunk of time and just saying 15 years. And
Pam, what are your thoughts on the length of time Fenn claims to have taken to have written the poem?
I think that I'm with Cynthia on part of that, where he he was probably very busy when he was writing it, and he didn't take 15 years, every day working on it. But maybe he had to, he did say he changed it around a lot during that time. And so maybe he had to find just the right words to where people wouldn't be able to quite figure it out so easily.
Mm-hmm. Shelley?
Well, again, we talked about that, I think earlier this week or last week, that Douglas Preston, in the foreword for his latest book, Once Upon a While, he had said that he had gone through some changes, that it started out much easier. I, for one, would like to see the original poem. If it's gotten harder over the years, I would like to know, what did it start out as? But I think with anything, you write something, you put it away for a while, you go back and you look at it again. Maybe he made a new discovery as he was going back to his special place, that things had changed, or he came up with a new way of looking at things, and then he would go back and change the poem. So it was over a long period of time because he only worked on it occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's I agree with Cynthia that it's not necessary. It's not absolutely necessary for us to count on the 15 years, right? I think 15 years is a euphemism for the amount of time that he spent on the project. So he had a project to build a treasure chest. He had a project to build a poem around the hiding place. He had a project to refine where the hiding place was and to make sure that the clues would match the proverbial map to get you from point A to the treasure. So I think the 15 years is a context in which he worked on this project. And, I'm one of the people that heard him say, I got cancer in 1988, and it was 15 years before I had that treasure. Well, if you add that number up, then he hid the treasure in 2003. So, but I think like Cynthia, he's compressed time. He's got all these things that have gone on in terms of this project, the poem, the collecting of the treasure, the refining of how he was going to market it and promote it, and the development of the memoirs and things like that. I think that's just contextual. I don't think he sat down every day for 15 years and worked on the poem. I think it was a project, and the poem was one part, not necessarily phase, but one part of that project. So that should give you some stuff to think about. Toby, Renee, more questions? Oh, here, let me answer. DeCall keeps asking where your treasure. Why don't you tell DeCall what he keeps asking where your treasure search area is? Toby.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have this kind of time on my hands, so I leave it up to my father. I'm right outside of DC, so, you know, once I have retirement in store for me, then I'll get out there with you guys, and hopefully you haven't found it at that point.
To call, Toby Renee is a sales professional with a company called Tobii, Tobii, out of Sweden. Tell me again what you do. I'm always mess it up.
Eye tracking.
Eye tracking, yeah. So she works for a high-tech company outside Washington, D.C., where she was raised. So the only reason that she's, well, not the only reason, she's joining us tonight because we needed a producer. We have a new producer coming on board, but he was traveling these 2 weeks, so I asked her to fill in for us. She's not actually a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter.
We just got a super chat from Tom Gregory.
Oh, let's, is that a question with it? Let me open it up, see. Oh, Tom, no question? Tom, first of all, thank you very much for your contribution. We really appreciate that. As I often say, it inspires us to continue doing this kind of work, produce quality content, and to produce more of it. And every time we see one of those, we're very grateful. So thank you very much for that. And it helps pay the bills. We have bills, believe it or not. Shelley, did you get through all your questions?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And Cynthia?
I have one more.
Okay, please do.
So Pam, you talked about using maps and some of the sources that you do use for your research. I don't think I heard you say Google Earth. So
Yes.
do you use Google Earth as well?
Yes, and satellite, and I mean we have looked at those maps and yes, we're big fans of maps.
So what we need to do is, after this is all over, get together, each of us make a contribution of our maps, and then let's have a big map garage sale. See if we can get any of this money back, for gosh sakes. So, oh, you know what I was going to ask you about, Pam? In one of your recent videos, you talked about an EPIRB, a GPS-based emergency response device. Yeah, why don't you talk about that for just a few minutes? I thought it was really interesting. They're relatively inexpensive in the context of, you know, being safe. I've actually ordered one. I'm going to have one for us by this year. So, tell us about the device.
It works really good. The plan that we have, we only use it. We only activate it when we're going to use it. Mm-hmm. So, but you can. There's an app that you can put on your phone, and so it's almost like texting on your phone. Mm-hmm. It makes it really easy. You also have you can send out like a SOS signal, like a emergency signal that's pretty easy to do. It has a lock on it, so you don't accidentally send it out either. Mm-hmm. But when you're out there and you have no cell service, we were inside Yellowstone Park. We broke down and there was no cell service at all. So some of that area up there, you have no cell service. And when you're out there alone, you can have bear spray and you can have other things, but this is, the inReach gives you kind of a peace of mind that you can have contact texting like back and forth to their center, their emergency center. So you feel like you have a person on the other end, like you're not out there by yourself.
And can you text, say, members of your family using the same tool?
Yes. There's like I said, there's pre-programmed things in there where you can send out like a pre-programmed text to your family that says, you know, I'm okay, or things like that. It's not like where you can just text your family like a regular phone, though. It's not for that.
Right. It's not supposed to replace your cell phone because you can't get cell service. It's specifically for emergency situations.
Right. And you can tell your family that you need help also.
Right.
So
yeah. So as I understand the pricing model, I'm sorry, Toby Renee?
I think you need to get that app, please.
You want to hear? Yeah, I've already ordered one, so and you're on the list, of course, always. The pricing model, it's a annual fee and then pay as you go. Explain the pricing model for me.
The way that we have, I think it's a $25.95, something like that, $24.95 a yearly fee. And then it's about $14.95 a month, I think, for only the months that we use it. That's the plan that we have. So if we don't use it all year, it's only the, say, $25 fee.
But it's the $25 plus $15 effectively for each month that you're active: June, July, August, and September.
Right, right. And so we'll activate it if we know we're going to be out there, and only activate it then, and it'll be good for the whole month.
Right. Once you activate it and pay the month. Very nice. I thought it was a really good idea, and I think another way just to make sure that you're safe, especially if you're searching with someone. You know, it's really different when you go up alone. I've had this conversation with you guys before. Once you get a partner on the whole idea that you know, you want to make them as safe as they can possibly be, these items come up as important. And I thought it was a really good tool. You know, I didn't carry walkie-talkies until the first time Shelley went on a recon with me, and I didn't have walkie-talkies because I wasn't accustomed to them, and I felt like, you know, I lost track of her in a couple of places. So I think it's a good idea. Any more questions for us, Toe, before we start wrapping up?
Yeah, a couple more just specifically for Pam while we have her. Yeah. DeCall Thomas asked, what is your biggest breakthrough or revelation discovered in the poem at this point?
You know, I don't know if I have a breakthrough yet, because I still, like I said, I really loved Montana when I was up there, and I think it has a lot of potential, but I really want to search more in New Mexico area. So I don't think I have a big breakthrough yet.
Okay. And Steve Rempel asks, what are your pros and cons of searching a Class A vehicle?
The pros are, if we go, say, when we were in New Mexico, it worked out really good for us because we had, we could go out for a while and then come back, and we had all the comforts of home. The cons are the gas mileage. We get only 6 miles to the gallon for gas.
So once you've parked that RV, you don't want to be chasing up and down mountains. How do you get around?
We have a Jeep.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, we pull a Jeep behind it.
Yeah.
So we always have a tow vehicle with us.
And Cynthia, did you say that you were taking an RV with you when you went to up north for the summer?
Yes, but my RV is a tiny little pop-up that sleeps 2 people.
Oh, okay.
So there's a big difference. I'm going to start going with Pam.
Yeah.
Because she's going in luxury and I'm in a pop-up camper. So,
you and Molly, huh? So enough room for you and Molly. So, Shelley, did you get through all your questions for Pam?
Yes, I just wanted to say once again, if for those people who are in our audience tonight and you've asked questions that we have not gotten to, Toby and I believe Cynthia, I can say this as well, will be going through the chat and answering those questions either through their blog or through video.
Yeah, we try to. Is
that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'll make sure that we get all those questions out. But we still have 10 minutes left, so Toby,
I can keep going.
Yeah, you keep going.
Okay, Eric Schmidt is asking the panel if anyone is searching between the lakes on the Madison and finds a oh, this was not a question, but if you are searching between the lakes on the Madison and finds a Garmin GPS, it's his.
Okay.
Well, we are going to start with metal detectors, so maybe we can find that.
I'll tell him more about that in just a minute. Okay.
And then Chris Thor is asking a Gypsy's Kiss in the panel, where do you think the poem goes from a general location to exact place to pick up the chest?
Cynthia, you want to start with that one, then we'll get to Pam?
Yes, that's really a good question. So I'm one of the believers that I think once you get to Home of Brown, the chest is within 200 feet of the Home of Brown. Mm-hmm. But I still think that you have to find the blaze, and maybe you can see it from Home of Brown, but, you know, the no place for the meek and drawing nigh, no paddle, blah, blah. That's still a path that you have to take to get to the bottom of the blaze where you're going to look quickly down. And I think it's at that point where you're actually going to see the chest. Mm-hmm. And then, like for me, the Terry Scant, I still think that that's a clue. And that's when Terry Scant with Marvel Gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. I really think that's the end of it. And that Terry Scant or Marvel Gaze is the final clue.
You know, I have to admit that one of my favorite scenes in that Nightline episode that you were on, at some point you guys were standing in a relatively open area, and you say that, Terry Scant with Marvel Gaze, and the gentleman looks at you, the guy that was there acting as the host says, "What does that mean?" You know, it was very good. It was very well done. So Pam, what do you think? Do we need to repeat the question?
Is that, yes.
So
please.
How do you go, Toby Renee, correct me if I'm wrong. So how do you go, in the poem, how do you go from the general to the specific? Is that about right?
Yeah, from general location to an exact place where the chest would be.
What do you think? How do you think you get there?
My thought on that is taking it in the canyon down. That has, I think that when you get there, I think that you're really close.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer that Shelley, I'm going to take this one just because I did the research for the last two videos that we did. And the last two videos to us indicate that the research that we did for the last two videos indicate to us that the point of commencement, where you start the generalized location, is embedded in the first stanza. And that the more specific location, we believe there is probably 500 to 600 feet between Warm Waters Halt and where the treasure is. And I think Cynthia's comment about it being 200 feet from the Home of Brown, we would agree with that absolutely. So we, as a result of this research that we've done over the past couple of weeks, our search area shrank. What's it? Shrunk. Down to what we think of now as a reasonable size. So we had a lot of fun with it. Toby Renee, keep going.
Okay, I'm going to point to Cynthia for this. Well, somebody also pointed out that they stayed at the cabin where you stayed at during that Nightline piece. But I think a lot of people are dying to know what your biggest breakthrough is, too.
Is that Cynthia for Cynthia?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so I think my biggest breakthrough is trying not to make the poem fit my location, but making my location fit the poem. Did I say that right? In other words, so I was so stuck on New Mexico for 4.5 years, and I didn't even consider trying to solve the poem and have it go anywhere else. And after just running out of places to begin with the warm waters, it's like, okay, I have to get over that and stop being so biased about, and stop being biased even about Yellowstone or Montana, and just try to figure out the poem, and wherever those clues are, the places on the map, that's where it is. And I'm just trying to get rid of that bias that I had all that time. So for me, I really think that's a breakthrough.
And Pam?
A breakthrough on the poem?
Yeah, what's been your biggest breakthrough so far?
My biggest breakthrough, probably, I would have to agree partly there, the same thing. I think sometimes that you become blinded by, a certain area, that you don't take into consideration something else. So that's a very good thing there.
As Cynthia described, that issue of distraction, I think you can be distracted by shiny objects, the shiny objects of the hunt. And what happens is you get away from the fundamentals, like a good basketball coach would tell you, and you have to get back to the fundamentals. Shelley Carney, what was your biggest breakthrough?
I think, I don't know. Just I think this last video we did was very exciting for me. The whole you're within 500 feet when you're at Warm Waters Halt. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really I thought it was a breakthrough. I thought it was exciting news.
Mm-hmm. So my big breakthrough came last January when Shelley, after meditating, called me and said, we need to get this search started again. Because I had found so many other things that were interesting, including building another business, that I had lost. I don't want to say that I had lost interest. It was still in the back of my mind, but I hadn't been actively searching since 2015. So when she called, it was just funny because she had this. I don't even know where it came from other than her meditation. So it was new to hear for her to say, let's get this search thing started all over again. Okay, Toby, Renee, I got to start wrapping up. Do you have any more questions?
I have a lot more, but if you want to get to them afterwards and send them out, that might be better.
Well, pick one and ask it. Just why don't you pick one?
Okay, this one's come up a lot. Mike M is asking a Gypsy's Kiss and Pam. Super curious about Pam's search around Eagle's Nest, Tolby Creek, and does the New Mexico Vietnam's memorial near Angel Fire come into play?
Why don't you go ahead and answer that, Pam, and then I'll answer it.
Eagle's Nest, I don't think I'm familiar with. I've never been to Angel Fire.
Okay, Eagle Nest is a lake and a town that's just north of Angel Fire. Okay. And the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is just west of kind of an angle as you're driving from Eagle Nest to, as you're driving from Angel Fire to Eagle Nest. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial is on the west side of the the road up the side of a hill. It's a beautiful memorial, but it does not play into our solution. And part of the reason that it doesn't play into our solution is that it expands the search area. There are some people that could claim that the Vietnam Veterans Memorial above Angel Fire is the beginning, the Warm Waters Halt or the beginning of the search, but it expands your search area dramatically because you have to go from you have to go from the memorial to Angel Fire, or you have to go from the memorial to Cimarron, and you just increased your search area by 20,000 square miles. So it doesn't play into ours. But if you find yourself in that area and you have a chance to visit the New Mexico State Vietnam Veterans Memorial, please do, and make sure you get into the chapel. The whole project was started by a father who lost a son in Vietnam and started building it on his own. And eventually the state got involved and funded the finishing of the location. But they have a Huey up there. One of the objects that was donated by the New Mexico State National Guard was a full-sized Huey that they have mounted up there as part of the memorial. So, great place to visit. Highly recommend it. Okay, so let me go around the table. Cynthia, remind everybody where they can find you.
ChasingFennsTreasure.com.
Chasing Fenn's Treasure. And is there a way on that blog, if they need to contact you?
Yes, my Gmail address is there.
Okay. Pam, where can people get in touch with you?
I'm at Ramblin Pam on YouTube.
Okay. And Shelley Carney, tell us about, I'll handle Gypsy's Kiss and you handle the softer side.
All right. So visit my YouTube channel at www.thesofterside.me. I'll have a new video out tomorrow. It's called Why She Changes and How to Handle Change. So I think it's going to be a really exciting video to watch. So please go there and check it out.
And Toby Renee, if people require eye tracking software and hardware, where do they go?
TobyPro.com.
That's a nice Swedish company. All right, so let me close up here. I got a couple of things that I have to share with you guys. So the first is we would like you to join us on Saturday, if you have an interest, at our other business channel. It's videotarot.tv at 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time on Saturday. And Shelley and I are going to be doing a training session on how we use Zoom.us, open broadcasting software, and the YouTube live stream feature to produce programming like this. We've had a lot of questions on it. We don't think the video is appropriate for our Forrest Fenn channel, our Fenn Treasure channel, so we're going to be doing that on our Video Tarot channel. If you haven't subscribed to Video Tarot, that's our channel where we put almost everything else, including things like Shelley learning how to use a metal detector, which is going to happen while we're traveling up north. So that's, again, Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, how to use Zoom into Google Docs and open broadcasting software to live stream on YouTube like we do. So, although you may not actually want to do that. You know, as well, you can find us on a gypsieskiss.tv and a gypsieskiss.live. And, of course, we have videotarot.tv if you have an interest in production and video making and documentary making, etc., etc. So I want to say thank you to Cynthia for being on the panel this evening. We really enjoy having you here, and we look forward to seeing you in other panels in the future. And Shelley, of course, my partner, thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow for our book club, Chapter 7 in The Thrill of the Chase, Me in the Middle, and I'm sure Shelley's analysis is going to be substantive. Toby Renee, thank you for joining us tonight and doing the producer's duties. We really enjoy having you here. And who knows, if somebody doesn't show up next week, you can just keep joining us for Q&A. So until you have to go out and travel.
Yeah.
And then Pam, last but not least, thank you for joining us tonight. Did I ask you to tell everybody where they could find you?
Yes.
Ramblin' Pam, yeah. So
yes.
Thank you for joining us tonight. It was a very informative panel. We loved having you on. I like your style. I think it's a very calm and relaxed style, and you seem to have a lot to offer to the community. So thank you for joining us tonight. For our audience out there, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know we didn't get to all the questions, and that's rare that we do in the 1 hour that we have, but Cynthia, Shelley, and I will get back to them and try to answer them in comments. If you have something that's really important, of course, send us an email, a gypsieskiss@gmail.com. But if you have a comment that didn't get answered tonight, just put it in the comment box below, and as this goes into production from YouTube, we'll make sure we answer that. Okay? So again, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you tomorrow on our Forrest Fenn Memoirs Book Club show. Good night.